I'm back, guys, and better than ever. Okay, that's not really true, but I'm working on it, and it's kind of working. And that is the truth. And all I'm doing is pretty much exactly following the steps that I used to get out of the anxiety cycle many, many years ago. I think it was like 10 years ago. So let me explain exactly what I do. But first, I want to say something. So some of you guys know that I've not been posting videos here for like 4 or 5 months. And I'm not going to kid myself and believe that you're all watching the videos because of me. I know that you're here for the information I provide and for the experiences I went through. And that's fair enough. That's good. And that's exactly what the channel is here for. But there were quite a few DMs, comments, and emails that I got from you guys asking where I've been, if I'm doing fine, and if I'm doing okay. And for most of them, I didn't reply to, but let me explain why, and I hope you can forgive me. So a bit more than half a year ago, I kind of learned that my marriage is going to end, and my whole world kind of shattered. Nothing was the same as it used to be. From one day to the other, it just, like in a snap of a finger, gone, boom. I was standing there pretty much alone. So in the videos I posted since then, it maybe doesn't look like it, but I was kind of emotionally unstable. I was not really me. I drowned my feelings and emotions with alcohol, cigarettes, parties, drugs, pretty much every chance I got. And looking back, it's kind of exactly how my anxiety started 10 years ago. But this time, it never spiraled into an anxiety disorder. It never went out of control. However, I did notice that it was affecting me mentally, physically, and emotionally. But wait a second before you leave. I can still tell you 100% that anxiety recovery, a full anxiety recovery, is possible. There is no doubt about it. Because this time I didn't have any panic attacks. My anxiety didn't spiral out of control. I didn't feel overwhelmed all the time, but my anxiety was pretty much the appropriate amount for the things that I've been going through. Just like every regular human being. I've dealt with anxiety, of course, but it's anxiety that made sense. Does that make sense? So the thoughts and feelings and experiences I went through is pretty much the same as any other regular dude would be going through. So that's why I'm still convinced that once you have 100% recovered from anxiety, it's not even possible to fall back into the cycle. Because 1, you know how anxiety feels like. And 2, you've experienced all the symptoms already. You know what anxiety can do to you. And number 3, and probably most importantly, you will know how to respond once the anxiety gets maybe a little bit overwhelming and you feel like you're on the edge. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. That first anxious thought that pops up and kind of gets a grip of your brain and doesn't want to let go until you eventually spiral into that panic attack. And it's exactly this stage that you will never ever reach again. I'm convinced of that. And that's why your body will never reach that overwhelmed state or stay in that overwhelmed state for too long. Your thoughts will no longer be stuck on a symptom, a thought, or a sensation. And so you can recover from that somewhat high anxiety just like any regular human being. But all this is not to say that the life events that happened to me, there were quite a few actually, did not affect me at all. They certainly did affect me. And I had the feeling like I was slipping into a depression or into a feeling of being completely drained and out of energy. Most of you will know the feeling, right? Plus I felt extremely, extremely hopeless. That was my biggest battle in this moment. There were quite a few tears and a lot of deep thinking, I'm not going to lie. So at some point, like 4 months ago, I made the conscious decision to not let all this negativity let me spiral into something I didn't want to be in. And I know I'm going to get so much hate for this. I can already imagine the comments in the comment section. But I will stick to my opinion, like in the hundreds of videos I made before. In order for you to overcome anxiety, depression, or whatever it is you're dealing with, you will have to be extremely uncomfortable at some point. You will need to make big steps that make you feel uneasy, make you feel maybe even more anxious. And that's simply the truth, and there's no sugarcoating around it. So let's take my situation as an example for now. I figured out for myself that I have probably an anxious attachment style in relationships. So I studied this subject a bit, binge watched a lot of videos about this topic, and I figured out that this kind of relationship style stems from me admiring certain traits in my partner that I don't have myself, that I somehow suppressed or learned not to behave that way in childhood, and that I cannot live without. Make sense? I think it makes sense. So in my case, it's probably being outgoing, being able to connect with people, being able to approach people and talk to them, just make friends. That's something I have great difficulties doing. Just to name one example, but there's plenty more. So for me, not to be anxiously attached anymore, I need to adapt this trait for myself. I need to learn to behave this way. I need to learn how I can be more outgoing and more confident when meeting strangers. And so I made the conscious decision to set up meetings, set up dates where no alcohol is involved, because I used to use alcohol as a crutch because it made me more outgoing and more fun. That's what I thought. I joined the gym, I joined the tennis club and started lessons with some randoms and simply started enjoying myself, playing and getting to know other people around me. But before all this happened, I would have probably relied on my ex-wife now to organize these kind of things. And I also would have used her as sort of a mental barrier, a mental protection wall, which I could hide behind in case things got awkward or there was some kind of weird silence that I couldn't handle. But whatever it is, I know that deep down, all of you know exactly what you should be working on or how you want to be seen from the world around you. You know what I mean. Achieving certain traits or goals that you know that you are capable of or that you really want to adapt for yourself. And that is something that every day you have to move towards that you have to try to achieve, try to learn something. And then there's one more thing which is much more important. At least for me, it is the most important thing. You have to get out and get your body moving as much as possible. In a balanced way, of course. Try to be as healthy as possible while still having fun. Try to get as good as in shape as you possibly can. So for me, there was tennis and going to the gym somewhat regularly and really exerting myself and trying to achieve a certain physique goal. Because without a goal, you're just pretty much just floating around. You have no clue what you're actually doing. So in the last 3 or 4 months, I already made a lot of progress in that sense. I went from looking and feeling like this right here to this now. I mean, it's not an impressive physique, but I'm working and achieving goals already. Not only am I already feeling the benefits of flushing out any stress with my workouts, I also feel more confident in my own body. Plus, I already feel so much more confident because I stuck to what I said I will do, and that almost every single day. Did I feel like doing these things? Absolutely not. I would have rather sulked in my own misery and stayed in bed and in the afternoon grab a couple of cans of beer, go out and meet some randos and talk shit, which I will regret the day after, and do a bunch of things that have absolutely no benefit in my life. And I know it's fun, I still do that sometimes, but in a more balanced way. And I know that with anxiety, it's something else. Because it can feel like you're putting yourself in danger or in harm's way. It probably even feels like you're putting your life at risk. I've been there, I know how it feels like. You can trust me on that. But I also know that all of us dealing with anxiety right now have this inner battle with themselves that they kind of know that it's anxiety, but also kind of feel uncertain. Maybe it could be something else. Maybe it is something more serious. And you have to realize that that is just anxiety talking to you. That's exactly what anxiety is there for. It wants to make you more timid. It wants to make you more careful. It wants you to err on the side of caution. That is what it's programmed to do. And that is what you kind of have to teach yourself to go against. Even though it might feel very uncomfortable at first. Not only uncomfortable, you will probably feel worse at the beginning. But every time you did something that you told yourself that you will be doing, you gain a little bit of confidence, a little bit more trust in yourself, a little bit more trust in the fact that this might just be anxiety. Because every time you told yourself and made the conscious decision to do something good for yourself, you came out fine. You came out maybe a little bit more anxious, but you're still alive and ticking. And that will slowly chip away on that uncertainty feeling that you are experiencing right now, and that anxiety is making you feel on a daily basis. And that all the way until anxiety and the uncertainty, it all just vanishes. And that all because you made the plan to become more confident and really become the best version of yourself. So do me the favor, do not go and try to fix your anxiety. Do not try to overcome anxiety as hard as you can. Try everything that you've learned about anxiety recovery. Try to reshift your mindset and tell yourself that you are trying to improve your life, trying to improve your capabilities, trying to improve your body, and be confident in yourself. Because being more confident equals being less anxious, my friends. So that's all. Much love.